Today, I want to talk about a topic that has been gnawing at my brain all weekend that I've been working on. Not actually all weekend, for a long time. It's been gnawing at my brain and I've been working on it. And I realized that had I put these things in place, 7 years ago when I started my business, I would be way further than I am now. And I want you guys at whatever level of your business that you're at to implement this and see how much it will help you in organization, in getting things done, and in just mapping out what needs to be done for your business. And there it is, mapping, process mapping. It is going to lay out the foundation of what needs to go on in your business every single day from point A to point Z, encompassing everything in between needed for you to make money. So let me ask you guys first, do you have your processes mapped or documented? What does that even mean when I'm asking you, do you have your processes mapped? So what a process map is a written document that shows A to Z how a process happened. And when I say shows, that means that if we're talking about a call, your script is attached. Your different call scripts are attached. All the phone numbers necessary are attached. Who answers the call is attached. Like every single thing that you need for a process to happen. So I'll start with my business since that's the one that I know best. So for me, most of my leads and jobs come through email. I'll get an email, and from that email, a quote needs to be given, a walkthrough needs to be scheduled, and the purpose of the quote or the walkthrough is to book that job, to sign that client onto a contract for either a one-time or a recurring cleaning. How is this done? Right? It sounds simple. Email comes in, I read it, I call the client, I book the job, I move on. Is that process documented in a way where I could fully hand it off to you and you do it based on what I have written down? That is what I mean by mapping the process. And I don't even mean the step by step of it. I mean the overall map, just like think of a regular map. Let's say you live in Maine and you're driving to Florida, you would need a map that would show you the direction from Maine to Florida. Of course, the map may not tell you to stop and get gas, but it is going to tell you that to get from Maine to Florida, you need to take 95 South all the way down, right? So that is your actual map. Do you have that for your process? And that's what I mean. For my email process, my map shows from the time that the email enters into my digital space from anywhere to that client either completing a book job or that client not booking. And my map dictates exactly what happens at each point. And this is what I want for you guys as business owners to create and to start to use. Again, Maine to Florida, 95 South, but it's not going to tell you to get your car serviced on the way there or to get an oil change or that you might need to rotate your tires on the way there. The map isn't for that. It's just to show you how to get from point A to point B. Once you've got that lined up, then you can add in every single process that goes with getting you from point A to point B, like changing your tires, checking your oil, refilling on gas, stopping to get food, not driving for more than 12 hours straight, right? So now that you have your map to get you from point A to point B, you also have your processes lined out that tells you exactly what we're doing from point A to point B. Because again, the map says just drive 95 South. That's not all that's included, right? There are a few other things that needs to happen, and you need to have those things documented and processed. You need to have those things documented in a way that someone else can understand your process when you pass it off to them. Another process that I will use is the phone calls coming in. That's a process that happens with every business. Do you have it mapped out exactly what needs to happen as soon as that phone rings? The phone needs to be answered by so many rings. For me, it's 3 rings. What exactly needs to be said? Do you have your call script? What happens if the customer says X? What happens if the customer says Y? What do you say if the customer says Z? Because everything is not going to happen as you plan it out. But if you have your map and your processes set, you will have 80% of situations covered. And the map and the process is not permanent. Roads change, travel conditions change. You may need to add, you may need to take away from that. You update it every 3 months. You update it quarterly, but you go through and make sure that things are documented properly. And that level of documentation is going to save you a lot of headache, I'll say, because as owners, we expect people that we hire to know what we know. All of our processes are here. We know how to do it. We know exactly how to go after an email. We know exactly how to go after a phone call. We know exactly how to go after a lead, no matter which way it comes in. If you are the only person that can then follow through from beginning to end with that lead, you're the bottleneck in your company, and you don't want to do that. Having the process eliminates you from being the bottleneck in your company, from being the only person that can answer emails, that can price jobs, that can answer phone calls, that knows what to say on the phone call to convert an inquiry into a booking. Because that's the whole point. The bread and butter of our cleaning business is leads, marketing, sales. So those are the processes. If anything, if you don't have any process mapped out, start with those. That is the bread and butter of your business. Exactly how does that work? Exactly what needs to happen at every single step. And when you start it, it's going to seem like, oh, that's simple. Call comes in, you say hello. Once they say hello, and then I say this, and then you say that. But as you go through your different scenarios and what you would want said, how you want these customers dealt with, you will understand that it's probably not documented somewhere the way that you want it documented. And that when you have that process documented somewhere, it's going to increase the chances of everyone that answers your calls doing it properly and turning that inquiry into a sale. And that's what you want to happen, whether you are in front of your phone or email or not. And that's what documenting these processes will do for you.